Hello, everybody, and welcome to Cat Chat. My name is David Lee Stanton, and please help me make welcome the beautiful model, Carol Baskin. Here she is on our TV right here. Hey, Carol Baskin, is that you behind the mask?
Behind the mask.
Yes. Hey, could you do me a favor? Turn her speaker up a little bit and shut that door.
Also, I am looking at Brian, which is not bad, but it's not you, David. So
Actually, you know what? If you shut that door, she won't be able to see me. So if you can angle that camera on top of the speaker towards me, no, just go ahead and leave that open.
Okay.
And then see that camera on top of the speaker near you?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, just angle that towards me so she can see how wonderful I am. Yeah. You might have to put it down lower on the desk there. Yeah, there you go. Hey, Carol Baskin.
yeah,
Yeah, she wants to see us. Although now Carol Baskin, in case you're all wondering, she is watching us from a studio cam, we call it. She's peering into the studio from over there. She wants to see us, which, hey, I don't blame her.
you're so entertaining. I don't want to miss a moment out of it.
Yes, I understand that. No. So anyways, like I said, welcome. You know, the kind of people that we like to watch the show here, well, everybody, but we're especially into people that love animals. And we have a special caring for wild animals. That's why you're probably watching this on Wild Animal Television. But this show right here is particularly for big cats. And if you all know Carol Baskin, you all know she is, well, the queen of big cats. And the reason why that is because she owns owns a sanctuary. Oh, I'm sorry, we're not supposed to call it that. A facility in Tampa, Florida, that rescues
It is a sanctuary.
Big cats, tigers, things like that. So she's a perfect person for Cat Chat, don't you think? So let's get right to it. And anyways, if you're a first person here, what we do is we talk about Cat Chat.
Oh dear.
There we go. Oh, fell again. Because somebody's called me. Don't call me during the show.
Actually, we do want people to call during the show, but maybe not
Well,
yourself.
don't call. It's like, I don't know. It's some 800 number. It's probably like, hey, can we sell you, I don't know, car insurance or something? You know, it's usually they call and they go, I love these calls I get. They're like, we have important news about your credit card. All right, and then they make you stay tuned. They're like, we can lower your rates. That's the important news they have about my credit card. They can lower my rates. How stupid is that? Anyways, so if you're just joining us for the first time, like I was saying, we cover news about big cats, but mostly the news relates to Big Cat Rescue, which is in Tampa, Florida, which Carol runs there and owns. Her and her husband, Howard, and their large staff of people. So let's get right to it. What's on your agenda today for the show, Carol Baskin? Is she frozen?
Yeah.
Oh.
Ice cream.
Oh, there. Okay, now she started moving. I don't know what was happening there. Did you hear everything I just said?
Yes.
Carol, I mean. Carol?
Yes, I heard what you were saying, and then it froze.
Oh, okay. I was telling people, so I was just asking you, so what do you have on your agenda today?
Well, let me bring our agenda up here so that I can see it. I'll share my screen. One of the cool things that we just started doing at the sanctuary is something called Front Flip, and we pay I think it's like $200 a month to provide this to our people who come into the sanctuary. So if they scan that code, they might win a free drink to go out on their tour, or they may win some t-shirt or something that we have in the gift shop. But the main prize and the main reason people scan it is because we're giving away an iPad mini. And so you can scan it once a day and win that. And we talked about this last week, so that's not news. But what is news is that we just rolled this out on Facebook. And so now people, when they come to our Facebook page, it's a way to increase the number of people who like our Facebook page, because to play, they have to like us. And then once they like us, they can scan once a day. And every day they can try and win that iPad mini. There's a lot of other consolation prizes that they win, including things like luggage tags and keychains and T-shirts and free downloads, all kinds of stuff you can win. So we're hoping that this will really help us connect with all of these great fans that we have on Facebook. And we just rolled over to 95,000 fans this morning, so I was really excited to see that when I woke up.
That's a lot of fans. Seriously. Imagine if you were in China.
That many people love big cats.
Wow. You know, in case you all are, like I said, you're watching this and you've noticed that Carol is on Google Hangouts. That's because now for the show we do pre-record the show just so we can give it to you in a high quality way. But you can still join the show live if you go to Google Hangouts every Wednesday at 12 noon. And the Google Hangouts that you'll want to go to is Wild Animal Television. And so that way you can still be kind of part of the show without it actually being like live. Hello, Carol?
I'm here.
Oh, okay. Now, what is, let's see, what am I looking at here? Now, first of all, we also have a video for you later. And, you know, Carol, I don't have those notes in front of me, so you'll have to tell me what the next topic is.
Okay. You're probably not seeing the same screen I am, but what I did was I brought up my screen, and it's a picture of Banshee the bobcat licking
Yeah, I'm
his lip.
seeing that. Fierce-looking cat.
He caught a black snake yesterday.
Oh
so one of the things I thought people might be interested in is some of the stuff that just goes on behind the scenes here at the sanctuary, since a lot of the people that watch the show are probably people that follow us.
Right.
And we don't usually post things like that, but we have a system at the sanctuary where every time a person goes out and cleans a cage, they would post back to us what they saw. And so in this case, they were cleaning Banshee's cage and saw that he had killed a snake, which means they immediately contact their coordinator, who comes out to see what kind of snake, whether it's poisonous or not.
Right.
And it turned out to be a black snake. And then they will log on if he just killed it, or if he ate it, or how much of it he ate, so that we can watch and make sure he doesn't get sick. Banshee's the very shy bobcat. We hardly ever see him, but apparently he can find plenty of things to do to entertain himself out there in its cage.
Well, how stupid is a snake to crawl into a cage, to a place where a tiger's or a bobcat's at? But anyways, isn't a black snake poisonous?
No, they're not poisonous.
Now, does your big cats get vax? Like when I was in Oklahoma, I got my dog a rattlesnake vaccination. So, do you give your cats like snake vaccinations?
I've never even heard of such a thing.
Of a rattlesnake vaccination?
Yeah.
Yeah, they have them in Oklahoma. You kind of need them there because where I was staying at was called Rattlesnake Ridge. Isn't that funny?
There's a sign. You shouldn't be at any place called Rattlesnake Ridge.
Yes, it should say that right below it. Caution. Well, anyways, I was staying at Rattlesnake Ridge, which is like, I don't know, like there was rattlesnakes everywhere. Everywhere. I mean, they would just be climbing on the fences and everything. So I was like, I have to get my little Penny Pooh vaccinated in case she's running through, you know, and gets bit by one.
I had no idea.
Yeah, I wonder if they make it for cats. Probably.
I'm sure they don't, or I'd know about it.
oh, yeah, actually, yeah. So, would a cat suffer from, do they get bit by snakes, or are they just too fast?
Sometimes they do get bitten by snakes, and sometimes the snakes are venomous. Here in Florida, we do have rattlesnakes. We have something called a pygmy rattler, which is only about maybe less than a foot long, but those things will hunt you down to bite you. They're
wow.
Scary to know that those cats will chase anything that slithers through the cage. To them, that looks like great fun.
Well, how do you feel about snakes?
Pardon?
How do you feel about, sounds like you said party. How do you feel about snakes? Like,
I have a live and let live theory about them unless they are in imminent, if the cat's in imminent danger. We've had situations where there was a rattlesnake all, coiled up and ready to strike at a serval, and we shot the rattlesnake to keep it from killing the serval. But in most cases, if we can just run it off, we will.
Oh, yeah, oops, oh, I just hit the camera. Oops.
I hope it's still pointed at you.
Do you have do a lot of snakes come in there, or how often a year do you get them?
I'd say probably once a month there will be a snake on the observation chart that has been caught by a cat. There's no way to tell how many snakes come and go that we never hear about because the cat doesn't catch them and doesn't get bitten by them. It's been more than a decade since we've had a poisonous snake bite one of the big cats. And whether or not they survive is often dependent on where the snake bites the cat. The cats have an amazing ability to recover from poisonous snake bites unless they're bit around the throat. And if they're bit around the throat, it blows up so fast that it asphyxiates them.
Wow.
Yeah, it's scary.
Well, you would think they would have some sort of natural defense, not for the throat part, but for the, the venom in general. Hey, Carol, could you click on your picture again so we could see you?
There I am.
Okay, well, that's good. Because we like seeing you. Oh, wait, I have to get that. Okay, well, what's next on your list there? Next time I'm going to make sure I print it.
I got to put it back on screen here to be able to see my notes.
Oh,
Can I do that?
Yeah, go ahead. I'm just fixing something real fast, too.
The next one that I had up was a little video that we put together of Khaleesi the Bobcat kitten. Are you ready to play that video?
Yeah, and that's the one right there. Yes, we are ready to play that video. Would you like for us to go to it, my queen? Should we go to it?
Yes, that would be great.
All right, let's go to that video, Mr. Studio Person. Now, how cute is that?
Isn't she precious?
Yes, she is. I'm so
Were
glad.
you able to see the video?
What?
Were you able to see the video while it was playing for everyone else?
Yes, I was. Although I did pre-watch it.
No.
I love kittens. Remember I was telling you, my weakness is kittens. Seriously, so that's my kryptonite is kittens. It's really good that, is it a she?
She, yes.
It's really good she's going back to the wild, where she belongs.
Yes.
Like you said. Because, I feel even sometimes when these animals are found and brought to sanctuaries and stuff like that, I think too many of the sanctuaries keep them and not return them.
Yeah.
So
it's a problem.
Yeah, and the wild needs those animals, seriously, to get rid of sick animals and to hunt snakes and things like that. True. I should win a prize for most times dropping a mic. It's why I put we have a carpet on this table, and it's for that very reason.
The prize is you end up having to buy a new one.
Yes. I'm always buying
And
something.
I guess word this morning that Khaleesi will be the poster child for the Body Shop is doing a campaign on their dragon fruit lip butter balm. And what that means is in 140 of their stores in the United States, they're going to have 3 different charities that whenever you buy that lip balm, they will donate to the charity that you pick. So you can pick Big Cat Rescue, or they'll have one that is human related, or one that may be like protecting forests or something like that. So it'll be 3 different charities that you can choose from. And Khaleesi, the mother of dragons, will be our spokesperson for that campaign for the dragon fruit lip balm.
So they put the picture on the. Did they put a picture on the lip balm?
Well, not on the lip balm, but on the display for it in 140 of the stores. So she'll be there telling people about. She won't be there. She'll be in her cage learning how to be a wild bobcat. Right. But her picture will be there telling people about Big Cat Rescue, and hopefully this will get us a lot more exposure to people that we wouldn't have reached otherwise through the Body Shop stores.
He's bringing me a piece of paper so I can write down notes. Well, now how did that bobcat come to you? In case for people who don't know the story.
You know, I don't know the very first part of her story. I know that she ended up with a rehabber over about, I don't know, 30, 45 minutes away from us. And that rehabber said that she was too vicious and she couldn't handle her. And so she sent her to another rehab center. And they said that she was too vicious and they couldn't handle her. And they sent her to us. And we love them vicious. That's what we want. We want them to be totally not wanting to be around people so that when they leave, they're not going to get in trouble with people and end up being shot.
And that's what I was telling you. Too many rescue places, they just want to keep the cat.
Yeah.
And what? For what? I don't know. Well, that's good that she's all feisty like that.
Oh, she's awful, and I love that about her. We recently, our operations manager, Gail, trapped some feral cats. Some other cat had kittens, and nobody found out about the kittens until they had gotten pretty big, and they're to the point where they're as big or bigger than Khaleesi is, and they've never been handled, so they are just vicious as well. So what we're hoping to do after they've had all their shots and are cleaned up some, to maybe have them live with Khaleesi out in the rehab center so that she'll have somebody to run and play with and at least learn how to be a cat with, since we don't have another bobcat for her to be around.
Wow. Now, when you're getting ready to release, when you're preparing a bobcat to be released back into the wild, do you make sure that you minimize contact with them, or you don't have contact with them, or just, I mean, how does all that work? So you make sure they can go back, because you don't want some tame cat going into the wild, right?
That's right. And we do everything we can to not talk around her. We don't act nice to her when we're with her. We're not mean to her, but we just don't, call her by name, or when we drop the food and we just drop it and leave. And this is only while she's this tiny and in the cat hospital, but in the next couple of weeks, she'll be big enough that she can go out into the rehab center. And once she goes out there, she won't see people at all. So except for the person that comes out and cleans her cage every day, and that person won't talk to her, won't play with her, won't have any kind of activity with her. And hopefully, if the kitten learns the way she should, and the way our kittens usually learn, she'll just go and hide in the boma or in the den until that person leaves.
Oh, and you instruct your employees to do that, right? To not pay, obviously check their health, but not interact with them, right?
We're so adamant about it that what we do with our rehab bobcats is only my daughter, Jamie, who you met on the last show, and usually one other person, maybe 2 other people that are master keepers. Those are the people that know how important it is that this cat not connect with people, not create an emotional connection with them. And so it's only those people who would be responsible for making sure she's fed and cleaned and taken care of.
All right. Now, to go back to when we were talking about how you got onto that balm stuff, lip balm stuff. Now, I'm sure there's a few other sanctuaries that watch us rescue places, whatever, and they're probably wondering, well, how, I need something like that. I'm a good sanctuary. I deserve something like that too. How do I even get involved in something like that? So could you tell us how does that work? How did you even get associated with the lip balm place and that they would even do a fundraising thing?
This actually went back, I think we've had about 3 or 4 years of a relationship with the Body Shop. And what helps sanctuaries become better known by these big corporate donors is being accredited. When big companies are putting their name out there in association with an organization, they want to make sure you're good. And the Global Federation of Animal Sanctuaries kind of gives them the ability to say, anybody who's accredited, you're not going to be embarrassed by them. So that helps. When they came to us several years ago, it was because we had had some hurricanes. We were afraid that if we lost the power to our freezers hold 17,000 pounds of food. And if the freezer goes down, now we're out of cat food. And if you think about a hurricane, sometimes the roads are out and you can't get deliveries, and our food comes all the way from California. So it could just be a nightmare if we didn't have anything to feed the cats for several days.
Yes.
So what they did was they donated a huge generator that'll run those big freezers for us. And then the next year they said, we gave to you last year and we want to do something nice with you again this year. And so they donated to help us with a solar project that we were doing, so that a lot of our ponds that are for the cats are run through those solar panels. And then also the party house now has a set of solar panels running it. And we generate more than enough electricity to run those items, and so we're able to sell it back to the power company and make money on that. So it's kind of a gift that keeps on giving from the Body Shop. And there's others who have helped us with the solar panels as well. Our bank helped. The Little Family Foundation helped. So we had a number of people, because those were I think the first one was $28,000 for the solar panels, and the next one was close to $40,000 because it was bigger. And so then when this thing came up with the lip balm last year, another accredited sanctuary, the Center for Great Apes, was their charity that they chose for the lip balm promotion. And then this year they chose us. And I think it's just because we continue to cultivate that relationship, and they know they've all been out here and they've brought they do an award thing for people in their organization who have been bestsellers and that sort of thing. And so they've brought them out here and they've had tours, and they just, they really get what we're doing and understand why it's so important that we ban the private possession of these animals so that we can save them in the wild.
See, the biggest secret to getting stuff like this, folks, is to be good.
Yes.
Be a good person, do good things, and you all know I preach it every week. It's the power of attraction. If you do good things, you will attract good things in your life. Seriously, if you're helping animals and all that, you're going to attract people who's wanting to give you money. Right, Carol? If you're doing evil stuff, you ain't going to make no money. You're going to be struggling. If you don't treat your animals good, you're going to be struggling. You can't feed them. Wonder why nothing's going right. I'm telling you, people, it's all in how you are as a person, what you believe. The power of attraction.
That's a great segue to a post that we just had on Facebook yesterday. There's a place here locally called Dade City Wild Things. They're in Dade City, Florida, which is about 45 minutes away. And they're friends of the place where you worked before, Joe Schreibvogel. They've exchanged tiger cubs back and forth. They've gotten tiger cubs from him. I don't know if they've ever sent any to him.
Right.
But they were on television again. Sometimes the press just doesn't get it, and they'll cover a story about, oh, how cute, go swim with the tiger cubs. And everybody on Facebook got so mad about that, and they've all been emailing and calling the station and saying, that's animal abuse. That is not the kind of thing that animal lovers want to see promoted on television. And yet this kind of goes to what you were saying. If they do bad things like that to try and raise money, because they haven't figured out that if you just do good things and do things the right way, people will donate and support your cause. And the more they do bad stuff like that, the less they're ever going to be supported. So they're shooting themselves in the foot to do that kind of stuff.
That's exactly, yes, I couldn't even say it in better sentence formation than that. That's exactly correct. Seriously. And that's why, yet you're always people like that. Unfortunately, always are struggling to find a dollar, and I don't feel bad for them. I feel bad for the animals because they're not getting enough. Because of what these people do, they're not attracting the good things that their animals deserve. To be honest with you, but so you know what I
I
try
think
to
you
do?
really owe it to the animals.
What?
You really owe it to the animals. If you're going to run a sanctuary, you owe it to them to be doing everything with the most integrity possible and to not be adding to the problem by breeding more big cats for cages.
You know what? This is weird. This is how much I love animals. Because well, I don't know if it's a measure, but like yesterday, I don't know. There's something in me that like panics if I know an animal is suffering even in the slightest. So like my puppies, right? I'm downstairs. I'm actually in the bathtub, and I was reading my tablet thing. I'm like reading in the bathtub, whatever. And I hear this puppy upstairs. They have the whole third floor. I hear this puppy upstairs like crying, like terribly. And I like jump out the tub, but I still got my pad in hand. I go running up the stairs, and then I look across the room, and then I see that it had its head caught in this like stand. It freaked me out, and I actually threw my pad thing down and everything, which I love my technology. I don't ever hurt it. And I just threw that stuff down like it was no big deal. And it went tumbling downstairs and everything. It didn't even occur to me, but I saved the animal. But it showed me that even deep inside of me, I love animals more than technology. And I love technology. But I mean, the most thing I love is like animals and protecting them. It's like a deep, deep thing within me.
And for people who don't know you, you are Mr. Technology. So for you to say this is a lot.
Yes, I know. Because normally I probably would have just kept my pad in my hand and helped the animal. Maybe got notes or something like that. But no.
Or Google how to free a puppy from a stand.
Exactly. It's the weirdest thing, too, how it had its head cut in. But our tech person would like to say something. But the only thing is we can't, like last time when you said something, we weren't able to hear you. So if you could say it, if you keep it short, I'll just repeat what it is.
Okay. How much I like animals is the fact that if somebody does hurt an animal, I'm going to hurt them.
Oh, okay.
And I'll carry a puppy on a bus if I have to, just sneak it in my bag or anything else like that. Like if it's a lost tiny puppy, I'll send it. I'll send it here.
That's not short.
And I'll rescue that puppy. I really will.
Okay, so what our tech person said is that he loves animals so much that he would rescue one and take it right on the bus, even though you're not allowed to have pets on the bus. He would sneak it in his bag and rescue a puppy if he even thought it was, or any dog, if he thought it was being tortured. But usually people who are torturing their animals kind of do it in private. I don't know anybody really that, well, except like zoos and circuses, I don't know anybody that tortures animals publicly. But most people, like when they're beating their dogs or not feeding them, they're like usually caught up in the basement or something like that. I'll tell you, every day I'm like reading stories of abused animals, even here in the city. And here's what's sad about it, because on the days that I'm in a real good mood and all that stuff, it makes me sad to think when I'm feeling good and happy that there's some animal somewhere suffering. Isn't it weird to think that? But that's what I think.
And that's the problem we have with regulating wild animal possession, because the inspectors are never going to see that kind of stuff. They're never, they come to the gate, they announce who they are, the bad guys know who they are, they've seen them enough. And so they're never going to be beating the animal or shoving its face into the dirt. We've had people that have been at that facility I just told you about who said that the way they were told to train the tiger cubs not to bite was when they would try to jump and nip and play like tigers want to do, was to take their face and shove it down into the dirt. And they're never going to do that in front of an inspector, so they're never going to get caught doing the stuff they do every day to these animals.
I know. That's one of the reasons why I had to leave where I used to be, everybody. I couldn't even stand it. I can't stand it. And to visually see it and being able to do nothing about it is I don't know. That's like watching somebody be murdered and you're just all you can do is sit there. And, that was so emotional thing for me, especially when I was telling you when I used to see horses getting killed, oh my God, knowing that I couldn't do anything about it. You know what I mean? And that horse might be thinking, oh, please, somebody save me or something. And then I sit there think, maybe if I freaked out, grabbed the gun, something, held the gun on them, maybe the horse would have lived. Why didn't I do that? You know what I'm saying?
Well, maybe because you're not a violent person. I would never condone violence.
Well, I'll tell you one thing. When it comes to animals, I have no problem getting violent with somebody. I'll punch you right in your face if somebody's hurting an animal right in front of me. I'm serious. I have no problem. I would shoot a person. You know, I might be getting myself in trouble for saying that, but I don't care. That's the way I am about animals. Never, ever anybody abuse an animal in front of me. Well, the only way you can abuse the animal in front of me and get away with it is if you have a gun yourself. And in the situations that I couldn't do anything about it, the people were armed. So I couldn't do anything about it. Now,
which would be a big part of why they're always armed.
Yes, exactly. It's exactly why they're always armed. It's not even to protect it, it's to protect themselves. Now, speaking of abused animals, this picture that we're looking at is like, you know, another terrible abuse case, but that had a happy ending.
Yes, it did, and it actually had a happier ending. And the reason I have this up here, this was Sierra, and we already talked about her. She was a mother cat who apparently had been smashed in the eye with like a 2x4 or something and had a big splinter in her eye. The eye couldn't be saved, so it had to be removed. And she was just deathly sick when she got here. We do fostering with kittens, and so we fostered her and her kittens, and the kittens have been adopted now. And now it was a problem of how are we going to give this cat a home? Here she only has one eye, and she's not very friendly, and so we really worked hard with her. Our interns did a great job of taming her down, and here you see her in her new home with one of our volunteers, a husband and wife named Jen and Darren Holly. They're the ones that build all the platforms out here, and they adopted her on July 4th, took her home, and have integrated her into their household of pets, and they say she's just fitting in beautifully. So this morning they said we want to finalize the adoption, which made us all very happy.
Yes, that makes me very happy too. I love when abused animals get adopted, or else old animals get adopted. You know, speaking of adoptions, I would like to give a shout out to Petland Pet Store. Okay, now that place used to be Puppy Mill Central. Okay, like that's where you would go buy your puppies there, and that's where they got them at, was Puppy Mills, and they didn't keep that no secret either. Okay, now, you know, when you bitch about somebody doing something, when they finally stop doing it, you can't continue to bitch about them and say, oh, they used to do this and that. You know, if they stop doing something that you want them to stop doing, you should be happy and praise them so that they continue to stop doing stuff that you don't like. Well, anyways, Petland, I don't know if that's a branch down there in Florida either. It's a company here in Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania. It's a pet store. But anyways, they stopped having Puppy Mill puppies. And you know what the puppies that they sell now are rescue puppies.
That's what they do at PetSmart here.
Yeah, that's a good idea. Because, as a matter of fact, they even told us if we don't get rid of all of our puppies, to bring them there.
That's a great idea.
Yeah, I mean, I think that's a really, because most people who go to a pet store to get a pet aren't, you know, they're not getting it to be a fighting dog and all that kind of stuff. So, you know, we'll say 90% of them, hopefully, are good people.
Plus, the people that are going to a pet store are usually paying more for the pet foods and things, and so you know that they really care about their animals or they wouldn't be there in the first place.
Right, so I think it is just a brilliant, so thank you Petland and PetSmart for finally doing that and realizing Puppy Mills ain't where it's at. It's the most stupidest, weirdest thing that there is. It's just mean. But rescuing puppies that are, you know, that normally would be thrown away or euthanized, thank you. Seriously, thank you.
One of the problems we had with a local PetSmart here was the people that do the, you know, pose with cute little tiger cub stuff. They would take the tiger cubs to PetSmart trying to attract customers there that would then come to their facilities and pay them to have their pictures made. And so we complained to PetSmart that, you know, we feel like this is animal abuse, and an awful lot of the public does. And so PetSmart took it seriously, and they banned that. They said you can no longer bring any kind of wild animal into any of their PetSmart stores, and that includes all of their stores in the United States, in Mexico, and in Canada. So just one letter like that can often do an awful lot of good.
Yeah, people don't know actually how much power a complaint has or a letter has. I'll tell you one thing, like even here at the studio, we'll get mail and email all this stuff, but as soon as somebody writes me a letter or makes me a direct phone call, that usually one letter has changed programming here before. One phone call, because somebody might not like, something, and just one person. So seriously, contacting people like that is more powerful than you think. Complaining about people that let tigers in malls and all that, if you ever see a mall that lets tiger petting, call that mall a few times. Get your friends to call, and I can guarantee you they'll stop doing it. It just takes a few, honey, just a few. I just want to clear the air, speaking of a viewer that watches, and and I'll never do it again if it's offended to you, Carol. But a viewer seems to think that whenever I bring up God, could you switch to your picture, Carol, so I can see you? When I bring up the Lord, who I think is the Lord, a viewer thinks I'm offending you. So am I offending you when I bring up the Lord? Because I won't do it no more if I do.
That's really a tough one. They always say that unless you want to get into a fight, don't talk about politics or religion.
Right. Well, it's like, when I quote the Bible every now and then, like, that's what he means. And he says when I do that, like, that you're all offended by it. I thought you were a religious person.
Yeah, everybody has their own beliefs. We're not trying to push any particular belief on this show. I think when you're quoting a passage from the Bible, it's because it's a book that you have studied, and I don't know that that's any different than quoting from a scientific journal.
Yeah, now I am trying to change you all into Mormons. I'm a Mormon. I want you all to be a Mormon. So if I'm
Good luck with that, David.
If I inspire you to be a Mormon, great. If I decide, I don't know. If I make you question your religion, great, which I probably don't. But and you know what? I'll tell you this, folks. When I'm quoting the Bible or something like that, I'm not quoting the Bible saying that you should follow it. I'm quoting the Bible because it's a popular book. And the stuff I quote out there is never some religious passage of something you should do. And I've only done it a few times. And the only thing I've ever quoted, I think, on this show was saying that it says in the Bible, it's easy to control masses or something like that. It's about something like that, I believe. Hey, I think the Bible has a lot of hokey stuff in it, so I'm not going to sit here and preach the Bible for sure. But
moving right along.
What's that? Right.
Is it moving right along? Up on the screen right now is Operation Wild Web, which just happened last week, where more than 150 people are facing charges for trafficking in tigers, leopards, jaguars, elephant ivory, and endangered birds on the internet. So these are people that were selling them on Craigslist or on eBay. And I really want to send a huge shout out to everybody who has helped us turn these people in. I get emails all the time from people going, I can't believe there's a leopard coat that's being sold on Craigslist today. And so we'll turn that into U.S. Fish and Wildlife Service. Or they'll say, eBay was marketing some ivory item, and so we'll turn that into U.S. Fish and Wildlife Service. And finally, after all of these complaints, U.S. Fish and Wildlife Service has arrested a boatload of people for doing stuff.
Look how small that tiger is. So that means they killed that tiger when it was young.
It's a Sumatran tiger, they said.
Do you find it small too? Or is it just me? Go down there to Big Cat Rescue, and you'll see those cats are as big as cars.
Yeah, they're huge.
So that cat right there that was killed when it was young. Because you know why it was killed when it was young? Because they've killed all of them. They've taken them all. There's none left. There's no old ones running around. They just killed the ones that are trying to grow. Ugh.
They're not as dangerous.
Yeah, exactly. You know what? All right, what are we looking at here?
The U.S. Fish and Wildlife Service worked with counterparts such as us and with their agents in California, Texas, New York, Florida, and Alaska, and some other states as well. This also spanned as far as Singapore, Thailand, and Indonesia, that they were smuggling these animals all around the world. So people will often challenge us and say that you can't really buy tiger parts over the internet. It's like, yes, you can, and it's really happening. And now they're finally cracking down on it. So we're really happy to see that that's happening. They said that they estimate it to be a $19 billion a year worldwide trade in just illegal wildlife.
You know what? If you wanna catch some people in the act of doing that kind of stuff, although there's probably nothing you can do about it. If you go, you have to use a browser called the Tor browser to get to it. A site called Silk Roads. And it's like the internet underground backdoor type stuff. You could buy drugs off of that site. Seriously, you pay. Do you know what Bitcoin is?
You must be listening to all the same podcasts I've been listening to, because I just learned about that a few weeks ago, and I was like, "Dang, I had no idea that that existed."
Yeah, I actually showed videos on my station on what Bitcoin is and what it is.
What do you think about Bitcoin?
What's that? What is it?
What do you think about it? I know what it is.
Oh, I think it's the world trying to figure out a different way for money or something. But I think it's too early for me to really. It's kind of confusing what it is. All it is like a big mathematical problem that computers try to figure out, and if your computer figures it out, you get these virtual coins that you can cash in for money. And the reason why they say it works is because money actually has no real value either. It's just literally printed. Now, it used to be backed up with gold and stuff, but now it's not. They just literally print it. So Bitcoin works off that same theory too, in a way. They just literally are making money out of nothing. So,
I had heard that the U.S. government was trying to quash Bitcoin, and I'm kind of sad to hear that, because I really like the concept of it. I like the concept of a international money market, for
Right.
lack of understanding of a better word, where we all trade in the same currency.
right.
And
Oh,
this
yeah.
would be such a great way of doing that. And like you said, because it's done through mathematics, it's not something that anybody could game the system. And I really like a currency that can't be gamed.
Right.
So I love the idea. I just don't know whether or not it would ever get past all of the different governments who want to be in control of their own currency.
Yeah, that's what I mean. As a universal thing, wherever if you want to buy something in Singapore, you can use your Bitcoins. If you want to buy something in Indonesia, everything works. That would be great, and that if it does like that, you're right. But there kind of is a way to gang the system in a way, because they have these companies have sprung up that sell computers that do nothing but Bitcoin mining, is what they call it. So they do nothing but sit there and try to figure out this mathematical problem or something, just 24 hours a day and all that. So the more machines you buy, the bigger Bitcoins you can have. So
But the system is set so that it gets tougher as that goes along. And so even though companies were able to have enough computing power in the past to generate a considerable amount of cash, now they can't, because the computing technology needed is like you'd have to own Google. You'd have to own all of the computers at Apple. You'd have to own huge networks to be able to generate these coins. So I think the bigger it gets, the more fair it gets across the whole.
Right, and the computers that they're selling are like that you can buy for Bitcoin mining are 54 gigahertz fast, where the ones you buy at the store are like 4, 5, 6, 8 gigahertz. These are 54 gigahertz, but they do nothing but crunch numbers. They don't have you can't play video games on them or nothing. But that's all and they're like $2,000 to $3,000 just for that one little unit. And I guess what you do is you buy a whole bunch of them or something. But I like to see how it plays out. I'm curious, But like I said, that Silk Road site is you got to use Bitcoins for that, and there you can get drugs animal skins, animals, people. You could buy slaves. I'm serious. You could buy any. You can buy an assassin. You could buy gum. You could buy. You could buy anything you want. It's crazy.
Hard to imagine that something like that is being allowed to happen, and I don't really understand how it's being.
It's not being
Why
allowed
is
to
it being
happen.
controlled?
It's a totally virtual place. Like, and the stores run virtually. They can't. They can't. It's ran through. I don't know if you heard of the Tor network. Have you?
Yes, like BitTorrent.
Okay, yeah. Well, it's like ran through that, so there is no way to There's just no way to stop. There's no way to find out who's doing it. You know what I mean? Like, it literally goes to server every day. There's just no way to track it. But but like I said, it doesn't matter. The power of attraction works no matter where you're at or what you're doing. So if you're a good person, you're going to get good things. Or if you're evil, you're eventually going to have bad stuff.
The last part of that Operation Wild Web was that the other states that were involved were Massachusetts, Pennsylvania, Nebraska, Kansas, North Dakota, South Dakota, Washington, Oregon, New Jersey, Rhode Island, and Oklahoma. And boy, am I hoping they're paying attention in Oklahoma.
I know. Oklahoma, I tell you, there's some... I'll never live there again. I know that. That was... I don't know if y'all viewers ever been to Oklahoma. It is the flattest place anywhere, and just windy, and animals. I mean, I don't know if all of Oklahoma people are like this, but the areas where I was at, there's very little disregard for animal life. I mean, now turtles, I think turtles is a very important thing in the world. I'm sure there's not enough of them. And in Oklahoma, where I was at, turtles would cross the street all the time, and people would go out and seek. They call it sliding. They would go out and seek turtles to run over, because when you run over a turtle, it shoots out the side of your tire somehow like that. Like it just.
Oh, that's horrible.
It kills the thing, but like its shell and everything shoots out like it's like things, and it's crazy. And they do that. And you go in Oklahoma, you'll see all these dead turtles along the street where people deliberately try to kill them. It's awful, I know, and they don't think nothing of it. They advertise it and stuff like that. It's just no normal thing. I think I was telling you before in the last show when I went to the bank, and the lady at the bank, she was like, dogs and stuff don't really get vet care. The things that get vet care is the cows, things that make them money. Like you see wild dogs running around all there. I'm serious. You don't go walking down the street in Oklahoma, where I was at, Rattlesnake Ridge. Wynnewood should be shut down, actually, if you could shut a town down. But that's just my opinion, folks. All right, how are we on time? Oh, we got a few more minutes. Okay, is there anything else? First of all, how's the diet? Did you lose a pound? God, it's been like 3 weeks.
I did not weigh myself, but I doubt seriously that I lost a pound. In fact, it's gotten to the point where it's like, all right, this is just not working. I may actually have to go on a diet, because what I've been trying to do is just eat healthy and not eat crap and sugar and stuff like that. But it's not working for me, so I may have to just starve myself to get that weight down and hopefully try to keep it off.
Right. I would consult a doctor, because you don't want to starve yourself. You got to think and stuff. And you can't. Our jobs require, especially your job, requires a lot of brain power. And if you're not eating, you're not going to have brain power.
Well, speaking of elephants, there was a great article that came out last week about elephants dying out in America's zoos. And it was probably the best article I've ever written exposing this, because the person who did the research actually researched all of the elephants who have ever been born in U.S. zoos going all the way back to 1960. And he looked at how many die, as opposed to if they were born in the wild, how many would die. And what he found is that elephants are I don't know how to say that. They're 3 times more likely to die in captivity than they are in the wild. in their early years. And a lot of that is because of a herpes virus that is spread around because they keep shipping these elephants from zoo to zoo to zoo. And so I thought it was a great expose on how the public just, would line up around the block to go see the baby elephant, but they don't realize all of the misery that went into creating that elephant. They talked about artificially inseminating with a 4-foot-long hose this poor elephant 104 times trying to get her pregnant. And that's obscene.
That is.
The public doesn't know.
That is extremely obscene. That's why animals are not like elephants are not just some thing you get to do whatever you freaking want with. Jeez, oh man. You know what? If you're watching wild animal television, I've been showing these videos about animals and how they're abused in the zoo. I'm sorry, in the circus. And I'm doing it deliberately, okay? Because that's another terrible thing. Whales, polar bears, elephants, these type of animals are hard to just kill, okay? So none of them just die with a gunshot or whatever. You gotta torture them to kill them. And that's exactly what they do to these animals. An elephant just doesn't die. You gotta torture it, torture it, torture it. And it takes, oh my God.
This guy looked at 390 elephants that died over 50 years in just the U.S. zoos. And wow. There were 320 of them who died before they were age 23.
And they were supposed to live like 50 years.
50 to 60 years. So they're dying out more than a quarter of a century before their time should expire in the wild. And usually, like with tigers in the wild will live 10 or 12 years. Tigers in zoos tend to live 10 or 12 years. Here at the sanctuary, they live into their late teens and early 20s. Right. So usually living, the time span in the wild is not considered that long. And yet here in captivity, these animals are dying at half the age they would even live to in the wild.
Do you know what? And that's nature taking them out of that is what that's doing.
Sure.
I mean, if you all might have noticed that I went to the zoo and I recorded some of it and showed it on wild animal television and stuff. But I didn't film the elephants at the zoo because I can't, because it's so daunting. Like, because they just kind of pace around and they're just not, they're depressed. An animal is going to, imagine being depressed all the time, every single day, every minute. Nothing's ever going to, you're always cramped. You can't walk around. It's the same room day after day. Wouldn't you die too? So that's just, they're dying of depression and abuse. That's what they're dying of. An elephant
and the conditions that they're kept in, they're not meant to be walking on concrete, and neither are tigers. And so they're often kept on rocks or on concrete because it's easier for the keepers to clean it, but it's not good for the animals. And so they get foot rot. The elephants get foot rot. That
elephants are supposed to be like in the desert and stuff, or they're supposed to. They come from Africa, right? Elephants. So they're supposed to walk on
Africa and Asia.
On the ground, on sand, or not rocks, cement. Not supposed to have things around their ankles. You know what I mean? They're not supposed to be seeing people gawking at them every single day, 7 days a week, gawking at them all day long. Oh, what is your statement? You cannot make any more statements unless you're mic'd. Because I ain't doing that anymore.
I think they're making animals a lot more industrialized, more than having them be natural with themselves, and they just bring them into America and everything else, and they just industrialize and they just conserve these animals into these places where they can't have any freedom at all.
Okay. Did you all hear that? Barely. He says that we all industrialize animals or something. We do. But next time we will have a mic for him so you can hear him.
So here's the short message. Don't go see the baby animals at the zoos or at the roadside zoos or at the fair or anywhere else that they're doing baby wild animals. It's always bad. It's just there's no good that's ever going to come from breeding wild animals for life in a cage.
That's right. And if you do see it, report it. Just like we said earlier, those reports, those complaints have way more power than you'd think. One call could change the whole situation. One call. by you. So here's the number. No. So I think today's topic, today's meaning of the show was to you stand up and do your part. Make a phone call when you see abuse, especially in the summer. In the summer is when you see all this fairs and tiger cub petting and all this other stuff. That's when you see it. Call and complain. Be like, I'm not going to shop at your store if I see another tiger there again, if you're ever even going to do it. Seriously. And I'm telling you, they're all about the dollar. They ain't making really any money off that tiger stuff, if at all. They're doing it to try to get you to come to the store. So if you say, listen, I'm not going to come to the store, they're going to be like, oh my gosh, this is not bringing people. This is making people not come to the store. And go to your zoo. If you see stuff that's you're not comfortable with, complain. Find a zookeeper. Say, why is that monkey over there not happy? Where's the food at? Complain. Seriously. When you go to parks or anything that has animals, scrutinize. Feel free to scrutinize. Never be afraid to. Because people who take care of their animals want to be scrutinized. They want you to notice all the work that they're doing. So, go to Big Cat Rescue. Check that place out. I'm serious. You probably won't find anything to scrutinize. But if you do, say something about it. Because that's just...
Usually we have big signs that say, if you see something you don't like, tell us about it.
Right, because they're for helping animals. They're not for hiding stuff that they do. A lot of these places turn into... their main objective... because I've been to some of these places. Their main objective is hiding stuff. That's more important than actually taking care of an animal. Hiding it. Hiding what they're doing. Hiding that it's in stress. Hiding. How about turning that around and not hide, actually help the animal and try to, instead of hiding it? It's weird. So
if people want to find out more about this show or get links to any of the stories that we talked about, they can go to bigcatrescue.org and in the search bar type in Cat Chat.
Right. And you can join us at Google Hangouts, Wild Animal Television Google Hangout, every Wednesday at noon. We do pre-record the shows now, but you can still kind of be live with us via the Hangout. If y'all aren't wondering why we decided not to do it live anymore, it's weird because we seem to work out the technical issues now. But it's more or less to give you a better show, because we can master the audio before we release it, do graphics and stuff like that. It's to give you a better show. And to cut out my foolishness, like whenever I talk about the Bible, I can cut that out, stuff like that.
If people want to call into the show, can they still call into that number?
Oh.
Or would they not be heard?
Well, I don't know, because that's a Skype number. And I know sometimes when you do Skype and Hangouts at the same time, they have a conflict because they're both trying to use the video driver. However, it still might work if we just tell Skype to do audio only. But, we'll try it. We'll try it next week.
And I have a Google Voice number that what I could do is just, if somebody called in, we could just hold it up and put them up to the screen there and let them talk.
Yeah,
that number is 1-388-3838.
Well, we'll put it on the screen next time and maybe put in the show notes. I believe, I would assume that you could probably, it's all probably integrated. I hate that word. It's all
integrated.
Probably, yeah. Say it again?
That word. Integrated.
Integrated. It's all probably integrated with Hangouts, I bet, somehow. Hey.
Probably. They can chat over here, I can see, but I just don't know how to get their voice on there.
And just a little side note to Google Plus, in case, you're watching for some reason. You know what? I'm a tech person, and I get confused by Google Plus and all that crap and how to get to a Hangout and even find it and all this, or send it. I don't know. Lord, I'm very confused by that site. Maybe I'm stupid or something, probably, but Google. If you can make it simpler for a person like me to use, a tech genius, I would be very happy about that. Because I can't figure out that Hangout thing. I don't know. Maybe it's so simple. I think I'm expecting it to be more complicated, and it's probably just super simple. But, all right, I think we're out of time.
Well, thank you, David.
Oh, thank you, Carol. This is the highlight of my week, Wednesdays.
It's always fun.
Now, if anybody wants to go visit Big Cat Rescue, they can start at bigcatrescue.org and go there, find out anything. I mean, they got a huge website, okay? You could, oh my God, you could spend weeks on it probably. So just go there, check them out if you want to visit the sanctuary. Apparently, we could call it a sanctuary, right?
Yes.
Okay.
The problem is people call it Big Cat Sanctuary. The name is Big Cat Rescue, but it is a sanctuary.
Okay. So if you would like to visit Big Cat Rescue, which is a sanctuary,
There you go.
start at the website, and that'll give you all the times, all the kind of stuff you could do there. Yeah, I mean, they have more than just like you just go there. You know, like there's different tours you can take. There's feeding tours if you want to see these cats eat big pieces of meat. Then, get on a feeding tour. And anything you do when you go to Big Cat Rescue, just by going there, visiting, is helping the cats. Seriously. Seeing them, your admission, which is very minimal, helps the feeding these tigers and cats. And it is not cheap to feed tigers.
No, it's about $10,000 per tiger per year just for their food and vet care.
That's a lot of money. That's more than a person eats.
Yeah.
I know I don't eat $1,000 worth of food a month.
Well, you probably don't eat 15 pounds of raw meat every meal.
No, I don't. Just 50 pounds of vegetables. No. All right, everybody. Well, is there anything else you want to? And just one more thing. I'm sorry. And the Andrew app is out, by the way, everybody. Let me show you real fast.
Yes. We downloaded, I think like 250 people downloaded the Android app last week.
Oh, I thought it would be more, actually. But I'm a numbers guy. Okay, let's see. It's called Big Cat Rescue, right?
Yes.
Oh, I think I put it on my oh, it's on my pad. Is my pad right in there? Oh, it's upstairs in my office. Well, anyways, I'll show you guys next week on my pad thing. So you just search for Big Cat Rescue. It's the easiest thing in the Play Store of Google Play Store, or if you have an Apple iPhone in the App Store. It's on both. Install the app, and what's the app for exactly?
It's a virtual tour of the sanctuary. So what people can do is they can almost walk around the sanctuary and play all of the cat's stories. They can pick the cat's name and it'll show the cat's picture, and then it'll play an audio file, or you can read the text of that cat's story, how they got here, certain particular things about that cat, how old they are, all of that kind of stuff. And then there's actually even a little map in there that shows you where on the sanctuary that cat lives.
Oh, wow. Now, see, that took some work to make that app, folks. So please, and it's free. It's free.
It's free.
So go there and enjoy that free app. I'm telling you, it is worth it. You'll like this app very much. Okay, everybody, thanks for watching the show. If you want to contact us, I don't know, go to Big Cat Rescue and call Carol. What's the email address at Big Cat Rescue?
If they call me or they want to contact me, it's CAT, at bigcatrescue.org. And our next event is Hamburger Mary's coming up July the 30th, 7:30, Ybor City. We'll be doing bingo night all night for the cats and lots of great prizes. Wear your cat ears.
I love that mask. That's great.
It's a Venetian cat mask, and it's like $10 on Amazon. I love it.
Oh, I wouldn't even make that for $10, would you?
Look at all the sequins and everything. It's beautiful.
I know. They must have made it in Singapore. All right, everybody. Thanks for watching. And thank you, Carol. I'm David Stan. That's Carol Baskin. And thank you for watching Cat Chat. See you next Wednesday. All right, Carol. Thanks.
Thank you.
All right. And this show will air in about, I don't know, it'll be on today, I'm sure. Bye-bye.